So this week we watched Dune Part Two, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Timothy Chalamet is a much better actor than a lot of people give him credit to. Like, I've had that opinion since watching him in The King on Netflix a couple years ago, but that's not a movie that everybody watched. It really showcased his reign as an actor, not just him, but I thought the same thing as Zendaya as well. Her playing Mary Jane in the Spider-Man picture, she doesn't really get an opportunity much to flex her wealth of acting. People mostly know her from Spider-Man and her stuff in Disney. Like, she had her own action sequences in this movie. She was playing sensitive, serious, tough, like a well-rounded character, a well-rounded delivery of emotions that very few actresses also get the opportunity to play. But my biggest issue, and this is part of what the movie's about and Dune itself is about, is a topic of colonialism. Like this movie features a lot of reference to Arabic cultures and religions, but part of my critique is those things aren't showcased in the talent. Like, the talent and a lot of the cast don't really represent that culture as well.
Everyone is very passionate about this film. They're like, it's perfect. And I don't know about that. But I do think it's very, very good. Like, I think that this was like perfect follow-up to the first one. It doesn't even feel like it's two different movies. It seems like one movie is just literally broken up into two pieces. And the second part, like, this movie really builds on the first one in a way that makes it better. Like, I think that I enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed the first one just because of the world building. Like, to me, that's why I love this story. Like, I've read the books, and because there's so many derivatives of this story, like Star Wars, Game of Thrones, that's the thing that I like about those shows and films is the world building. Like, you get to go to other places and see different cultures and stuff like that is what I love about those stories. So, like, to see that in this one, I feel like that's what it was missing in the first piece for me. A lot of people were like, oh, the action is missing. We want more action. And the action was great. But for me, it's like world building, politicking. Like, that's the stuff that I'm more interested in. So, like, we got a lot more of that. I feel like in the third one, if they make a third one, that'll probably be the best one because that'll be more of like the nuancy kind of like we're getting into like how things, the structure and the government and stuff like that. And like, I like that. So that'll probably be more for me. But this one was really good. I wanted more Florence Pugh. I was sad that she wasn't in this more, but I understand why because of the story. Like, she's just not in that. She's just not in it that much, but I wanted more Florence. Rebecca Ferguson, to me, is always one of the best performances. Like, she is an amazing actress. I said this last year. I mean, the first time Dune came out, I said she deserved an Oscar nomination, and I still stand by that. This performance was amazing. She is on another level. Like, more love for Rebecca Ferguson, please. Like, I think she's fantastic. My favorite performance, however, was Austin Butler. I'm sorry, like Austin Butler ate this. Like, he ate this role down. Like, he was the best part of this movie for me. Everything that happened on the Harkonnen planet, Giedi Prime, that stuff was the best stuff. Like, in my opinion. Also, just like the way it looks, because it looks so starkly different than what we are seeing from Dune. Like, you can tell that he's really having fun with it. And also, like, someone else said this, but like how he uses his voice, like whether he's playing Elvis or this role, like he really knows how to manipulate his voice in a way where it's like he can like really shapeshift and just through like his vocals. Like, it's really impressive.
You mentioned it about the color contrast when they're on the Harkonnens' homeworld compared to Arrakis. Even though Arrakis is very much a desert, there's still color in it. And I love the fact that the Harkonnen homeworld they shot, it's basically like black and white kind of infrared stuff showcasing the stark contrast or the villainy at that time of the Harkonnens as well.
I really wish that this was a TV show. I have a show coming out about Dune later this year, but I mean like this actual story, because I feel like you would have so much more time to really explore all of the different dynamics in all the different houses and stuff. Because one of the issues I did have with this movie was the pacing. I just felt like some parts were super rushed. And so because we had to hurry up and get to the next thing, we weren't able to kind of like really get into like what was going on. Like, at one point, the Bene Gesserits are talking about the fact that Fade Alpha killed his mother, and then they just skipped over. I was like, excuse me, can we get some more information about that? Like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? um, and just exploring his mindset of like why he loves pain and all this other stuff. Like, there is stuff to explore here, and we didn't. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot to unpack in this story. And I feel like a television series would actually be a better fit of like understanding the world. I understand like on film, like Denis trying to do his Star Wars thing, he wants his trilogy. Like that makes a whole bunch of sense. Everyone is like, this is our new Star Wars. Well, not everyone, but young people who haven't seen Star Wars. They're like, this is our Star Wars. We feel like this is our moment to be a part of something that's like very culturally important. And that's fantastic. Like, I'm really happy that this story is touching people in that way. But I also feel like, in terms of exploring like all of the themes and all of the different stuff that happens in this world, you just need more time. And the only medium that provides you that is television. So the writing is tough for me. And it was tough for me in the first one, but I think I overlooked it because everything else was amazing. This one, I really felt it. So much of this is expository dialogue. Like they're telling you literally everything that's happening. And I just don't like that. And I get it that people are coming to it who haven't read the book and who don't know the story. Like I totally understand that they might not get it. Now they might not get everything, but to have everything kind of spelled out to you is just not good storytelling, in my opinion.
It probably would have done better as a series. We see those ramifications of many productions and trying to compete with the success of Game of Thrones, because now they're rewriting the Avatar series, which that's an issue in itself, to match tone-wise to attract a certain audience like Game of Thrones. But I do think this particular property meshes well with it with very minimal adaptation. And there, like you said, there's a lot of subtext and a lot of action going on in the books that are not featured in this project. This is one of those book to film adaptations, I think, that glosses over a lot of details, a lot of backstory.
In the second book, I feel like that whole white savior thing is explored a lot more and in better detail. It's just that like that movie hasn't come out yet. They haven't made that one yet. So I think they're trying to like pepper in things. Paul knows that like the only reason why he's with the Fremen is because he wants to use them to get revenge on the Emperor. Mm-hmm. But then he falls in love with Chani and actually starts to care about the Fremen people. And then because he knows that, the fundamentalists like already are looking for a prophet, they already are obsessed with him, he doesn't want to go south. But then he goes south anyways because he just decides like, yeah, like my path is, I know it's not going to be good, but like I have to do it.
I think that's also another key point in this movie is colonialism, how religion is weaponized, but also in the movie there also is a very clear divide on how generations view religion and politics. That world building aspect of the Dune universe, where it encapsulates so many real life webs and entanglements, all these topics kind of blend and interact with each other. And I'm so thankful that Denny has also brought that to life in the movies as well.
Trouble that Dune probably runs into is the fact that they're trying to depict a cautionary tale of like having this white savior trope of this person who isn't native to the land coming in and saving the day. But the thing is that they haven't shown the downfall of that yet.
Yeah.
So for the people who are watching just these movies who haven't read the books or anything, like they're going to think that that's exactly what the story is because it kind of feeds into that. So Paul resists, and then eventually he becomes Muad'Dib. He becomes the savior of these people. And these are people of color. Like most of all of the Fremen are people of color. We're going to have to wait to see the downfall of these decisions.
Yeah.
At least on screen.
We've been witnessing weekly bombardments of Israel bombarding Gaza, and now we have a movie featuring that scene, which is borrowing aspects from people of that region in that culture, and we see that being played out in in our entertainment in a way. I don't know. I feel kind of iffy about that.
It is incredibly poignant to be watching this movie now, just because of like what is happening and what we're seeing. I guess it's just how you choose to depict it. Because I feel like if you are respectful of the history and like what's going on in present day, it'll feel different to the audience members. Cinematography, Greg Fraser, another stunning job. There are so many scenes in this that are just like perfect. Like they look perfect. The fight scene at the end where it's like the sun is setting. Oh, chills. But also just like not only them, but the production design, the visual effects, like everybody working at the top of their game, wardrobe, hair, makeup, like everyone looked amazing and like accurate to like where they're supposed to be and like what the settings are supposed to be. Like everything just looked so good. And the music by Hans Zimmer, beautiful. Again, it's like you got the best people working on your film. So it's like, it's gonna look great. I feel like Denis did such a great job of just like managing all of this stuff. Like he's one of those directors, like you said earlier, who really knows how to work on this scale and has really proven himself as like an auteur.
Probably tonight, rewatch the first one and then probably see if I can sneak a early morning matinee and rewatch this one. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I can't wait for the next film.
I don't want them to Hollywood sanitize it. Like I want them to be as strange as possible because that's what I want. Like I need them to go full crazy in these next two. I don't know if Denis gonna keep directing them. I think he's gonna end it with the next one, but like whoever takes over, just go weird.
Did you like that clip? Well, you can listen to the entire podcast because the 16mm Film Crew podcast is available on all major podcast platforms.